How many of you can remember what your life was like before the internet? Or what you did in your spare time before you had Netflix, social media, or your first smartphone? The world has changed a lot over the course of our lifetimes, and that change is only coming faster. We are entering what has been termed the fourth industrial revolution, also called Industry 4.0. Just as technology like the steam engine and printing press helped the world leap forward into new eras of prosperity and change, technology like artificial intelligence and automation are starting to completely transform our lives. These changes are coming rapidly and will be felt first and foremost in the job sector. In order to successfully adapt to automation, it is imperative that we rethink our current job system. A future free of the traditional job value framework is not only possible with the growing implementation of automation, it is imperative for creating a world in which humanity can not only survive, but meaningfully thrive as well. Now, while you may not see it yet in your day-to-day life, robotic automation is already being used to successfully replace human workers, and the demand for them is only growing. According to a report by science and tech news source Futurism, in 2017, a Chinese factory in Dongguan replaced 90% of its workers with machines and saw a 250 increase in production and an 80% decrease in defects. Many of the most obvious jobs that are currently being replaced by machines are entry-level jobs that don't require a lot of education, like manufacturing, food, and retail. Some may think that this threat does not extend to higher level jobs, such as doctors and lawyers. They would be wrong. According to an AI company, Lutex, who creates AI for legal reasons, they pitted the company's special AI systems and professional lawyers against each other to see who would come out top. They all analyzed documents, and it took the AI about 26 seconds to do so, with 94% accuracy. The lawyers, on the other hand, took about 92 minutes, with around 80% accuracy. Huge difference there. Clearly, there is a need for intervention, or perhaps a new way of thinking. According to Bernard Marr, a government strategic tech advisor, perhaps instead of fearing automation or trying fruitlessly to avoid it, we need to focus on embracing and creating a jobless future. But how could such a future exist? I'll tell you. By rethinking our current global economic model to automatically provide for the basic needs of a society with UBI. UBI, or a universal basic income, is a fixed amount of income that covers the basic cost of living. While this may sound far-fetched to some, UBI is already being successfully implemented in experiments around the world, including the US. Every citizen in Alaska receives a UBI that is paid for by the excess profits from oil companies. This economic model ensures that everyone receives a piece of the pie. Technology would be the oil of the future, and a robot tax on companies that run mainly or entirely on automation would ensure that all members of society are benefiting from the work that machines provide. According to presidential candidate Andrew Yang, more money is currently being spent on welfare in the US than would be required to start providing a UBI for every US citizen. In addition to this, the money given to middle-class citizens would flow right back into the economy as people purchased goods and services for their family and themselves. With careful planning, an economic system that directly invests in the people is possible. Not only is it possible to create an economic system that covers people's basic needs, but doing so would inevitably allow our societies to advance even more rapidly. The rise of the middle class during the Enlightenment was largely brought about by the increased free time and prosperity from the newest technology of the time. Automation and UBI together would amplify this trend and allow people to work in meaningful areas that they loved. According to Scott Sentens, a UBI researcher, 1.2 billion hours of unpaid meaningful work is being carried out by Americans already. Every week. UBI would create a future without jobs, but not without work. I myself put at least 30 to 40 hours a week into the zoo that I'm creating in Las Vegas. But to support myself, I've still got to have 2 other jobs to be able to go through school. And it creates some pretty big problems in my life. According to researcher Luke Kingma, world-famous author Harper Lee created the book To Kill a Mockingbird because a sponsor allowed her to not work for an entire year and just focus on her art. That book became a timeless classic. While it's true that some members of society would inevitably squander away their free time without contributing, tech reporter Cold Fusion reports that the benefits of unleashing the rest of humanity's creative powers and curiosity would far outweigh the effects of those who did not contribute. If there is one common singularity amongst humanity as well, it is our drive to create meaning in our lives and in the world around us. Like our ancestors before us, we are entering an unprecedented era of change. In order for this new era to bring prosperity to humanity, we must rethink our value system. By embracing and implementing a universal basic income, we will create a world in which machines work and people will be free to create meaningful, healthy, and prospering lives. Another industrial era is on our doorstep, promising us untold change. Let us answer it with conviction to create a world where meaning matters most.